Hi, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe. Today we are discussing Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone's book, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. I have my hard copy in front of me. Those who are joining us live here at the program can download a PDF in the seat beside me. Those who are watching the replay, there may be a link you can check below. Today, from Success for a Positive Mental Attitude, we are talking about a mental bombshell. The whole section is about bombshells. These are big deals. These are big happenings, if you will, in our lives. These are big changes that are to be made, but they all begin up here, and hence the title of the entire section is Bombshells, Mental Bombshells. So today is about the 7 virtues. We'll go into those shortly, but as a lead-in as to why we're even talking about the 7 virtues, I have to tell you that in my book on page 73, we're talking about vices. We're talking about that which is the bad habit. We're talking about the emotion that's gone destructive. We're talking about going to something on the outside to make us feel better. So, negative attitudes are contagious. Bad habits are contagious. Let each of us look at our own associations and be certain to keep them on the highest possible level. Remember this little poem. Vice is a monster of such awful mien that to be hated needs but to be seen, yet seen too oft, familiar with his face, we first endure, then pity, then embrace. Another force that every one of us as human beings has to contend with, and if it's not met with positive mental attitude, can cause physical, moral, and mental destruction, absolute destruction, if it's not met with the positive mental attitude. And that is the power of sex. Sex presents the greatest challenge of change. Each human being, that means me, you, every human being, has the power to choose for himself whether he will use that tremendous power of sex for good or for evil. And each one of us must contend with the problems that will arise in our lives because of sex. Having said that, we can transmute sex into a virtue. It's declared here that one of God's greatest gifts to mankind is the power to procreate a human being. And sex is the means of procreation. It is power. And like all power, it can be used for good or evil. It is a physical function of the mind it is a physical function of the body under the control of the subconscious and conscious mind. It is inherited. The physical sex organs, works of God, like all creations, are good. The little difference, just a little difference, isn't it, that makes the biggest difference of all between the power of sex being a virtue or vice is mental attitude. So we're going to keep in mind that the inherent emotion of sex is one of the most powerful forces of the subconscious mind. The effects of its motivating power are seen long before adolescence. I mean, we all have the experiences of the changings of our body, of our thoughts, of our emotions, the hormones that happen, the upheaval that happens. When all of that is in conflict with the will of the conscious mind, the power of imagination, as it affects the emotion of sex, has a tendency to win, unless the conscious mind uses its power to affect, use, control, or harmonize with the powers of the subconscious. Remember, we have the power to choose. Choose wisely and choose with positive mental attitude. Let's transmute sex into a virtue. Now let's talk about what virtues are. There are 7 virtues. First, Virtue, for those unfamiliar with the word, virtue, virtue is a moral practice or action. Moral excellence, rectitude, valor, chastity. The 7 virtues are prudence, fortitude, temperance, justice, faith, hope, charity. I'm already seeing how so well these virtues align with the success principles we've talked about to this point. Going to Webster's dictionary. Prudence is the ability to regulate and discipline oneself through the exercise of reasons. I don't think I even said that correctly, did I? It didn't sound right to me. Prudence, the ability to regulate and discipline oneself through the exercise of reason. Prudence. Fortitude, the endurance of physical or mental hardship or suffering without giving way under strain. It is firmness of mind in meeting danger or adversity, resolute endurance, courage, and staying power. It is the possession of the stamina essential to face that which repels or frightens one, or to put up with the hardships of a job imposed. It implies triumph. Synonyms for fortitude, you might say that someone has grit, backbone, pluck, guts. Then we have temperance. Habitual moderation in the indulgence of the appetites and passions. Justice, the principle of rectitude and just dealing, and start over. Justice is the principle of rectitude and just dealing of men with each other. Also conformity to it, integrity. And then we have faith. It's trust in God. Hope, the desire with expectation of obtaining what is desired or belief that it is attainable. Charity, the act of loving all men as brothers because they are sons of God. The act of loving all women as sisters because they are daughters of God. It stresses benevolence and goodwill in giving and in the broad understanding of others with kindly tolerance. 7 virtues. Pretty powerful, aren't they? If we take each one individually, can we look at them and say, how well am I doing in that area? Checkpoint. So how can we transmute that powerful emotion of sex into the good and the beautiful? How do we keep our mind on the things we want and off the things we don't want? Okay? We work long hours at a labor of love. It will keep us busy and occupy our thoughts. We select an environment that develops us into the best we can be, but also helps us to move forward towards our objectives. And we choose the self-motivators for self-suggestion that each of us individually believe will help us. And we memorize them and we make them a part of our daily living, as well as when we're in need, it becomes such a habit that it flashes through our minds. I made the decision, I am not going to act that way, so this is the way I'm going to act instead. And boom, decision's been made. Already taught myself how to snap into something different. So let's go back to those 7 virtues. Love to have a discussion on any one of those. We have Betsy, who finally got her coffee. Welcome back. It says, to me, faith is trust in a power greater than myself, and it unites. Okay. When we say God, we bring in religion, which divides people. I get it. Language matters for inclusivity. Language is a big deal. And I'm glad that you're seeing that while I am comfortable with using the word God, and when I say God, that you're allowing me to do that so that you can also think in terms of your greater power that you rely on, the energies of the universe that you go to. Hope does not imply any action. It makes me think of a place of desperation. Now that's interesting. That's interesting because hope in actuality is a desire with expectation of obtaining what is desired. I don't have it now. I hope to have it. And these are the things I'm doing in order to get it. And it is, for me, it is part of the motivator emotion that comes up. If I didn't have hope, then would I read every morning about my major definite purpose and what I have in front of me when it comes to the goals for the day and the meeting I'm going to have next week and the things I'm planning? If I don't have hope that they're going to be successful, then why do it? To me, the removal of hope removes that desire of expectation that it's possible, which then reduces me to a point of desperation. So Betsy is saying instead, how about I will have it, I will find a way. I understand where you're coming from if you're saying that when you hear the word hope, you think of a place of desperation. So instead, you think that I will have something, I will find a way. Language, yes. It's very important that we understand the words that are used. So when we're talking about the 7 virtues, it's also important that we stick with the main while discussing our interpretations. Hope is a belief that it will happen regardless of opposition. I like to define words in a way that is empowering to me. Okay, hope is a belief that it will happen regardless of opposition. Yeah, that expands on that definition nicely. And then we have Betsy. So back to sex. Oh, you're a dear, Betsy. You are a dear. So we have a little bit of discussion there about faith, and we have hope, hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Oh, wow, Catherine, how is that for an acronym? And I think I just hit Betsy solid. We have more than one exclamation point, and the I like that. Hope, hearts open to pursue the extraordinary. Nice. Very nice, Catherine. So what else? What other kind of thoughts do you have? That's Catherine's tagline. What other thoughts do we have on these 7 virtues? Prudence. I just like saying the word. All right, I admit it. I'm a word nerd. I like saying the word prudence. The ability to regulate and discipline oneself through the exercise of reason. Can anybody figure out why I actually like the definition too? Regulate and discipline oneself through the exercise of reason. It's prudence. Moving forward with prudence. Thinking before acting. Responding rather than reacting. That's what's coming in my mind as a visual of what prudence looks like. Reason comes in handy. Yes, it does, Betsy. So that's prudence. I'm speaking now with prudence. I'm applying thought before I speak. When I wanted to respond to what was in the chat, I didn't want to just react and just free flow whatever comes out. I gave it a little thought beforehand, so I could be certain that what I was sharing was real on my view and how I see things. Christian, I like it because it highlights reason. I usually thought about prudence to mean sexually repressed, but I like the definition with reason better. Now that's interesting. That's interesting how you used to think of prudence. Never thought of prudence to mean sexually repressed for myself. Because, yeah, I knew you were going to go there. Going like a prude. Okay. I get it. That's not what it means, though. Then again, it could be that he or she is a prude, because he can be prude as well, right? Because they're actually regulating and disciplining themselves because they are applying a sense of reason. They're thinking things through. So it's not that they're repressed as much as they are saying, no. How's that? All right, we'll go back to prudence being the exercise of reason. Hey, what do y'all think about fortitude? That's another cool word, actually. Fortitude. Fortitude, the endurance of physical or mental hardships or suffering without giving way under strain. That's a big one, because it means having firmness of mind in meeting danger or adversity, resolute endurance. We have fortitude, structure, base, foundation. Okay, Cindy. Betsy, nothing will stop me no matter what. There you go. That is definitely an exercise in fortitude. Just saying that gives you a sense of strength, doesn't it? That's not even with the power pose. How about we say that with a power pose, right? Let me see if I can get this right. Do the Wonder Woman power pose. Yes, my hands are on my hips. Warrior, I don't know what's a warrior pose. Wait a minute. Fortitude. I'm fortified with coffee. Sorry, couldn't resist. Yes, coffee helps. But it is mental hardship, isn't it? It is mental acuity. It is mental firmness. Resolute in my values, resolute in this is the direction I'm going because I know it's the right way to go. The fortitude that it's actually the possession of the stamina essential to face that which repels or frightens us. All right, so I've put that to use. So facing our fears, that's it. Doing it in spite of the fear. Because mentally telling ourselves we're going to do it in spite of the fear. That's how I was able to begin associating and socializing with people. That's how I was able to learn how to actually talk to people beyond just the hi, bye, done. That's how I was able to learn how to speak in public and then speak from a stage. I was just talking with my father yesterday, and we pack a lot into 30 minutes. It's a powerful, it confuses everybody. My father's I'm just like him in this way. He said a lot in 30 minutes. No wasted words. But he was still stunned when I told him that I had a program like this. He was absolutely stunned. He said, that sounds wonderful, but that means that you're talking to a lot of strangers. I said, yeah, Dad, I am. It's going to be better. I've just been talking with somebody who has a internet television program. Good things are going to be happening by this time next year. Good morning, Karen. So yeah, fortitude. there was a time that absolutely, in spite of the knees shaking, I stood up and spoke in front of people. In spite of the need to run to the ladies' room and lose my lunch, I got up on stage, right? Fortitude, and it's all because up here, saying that we're going to do it in spite of the fear. Being uncomfortable, not worrying about others judging us. Oh, no, I don't know that I can say that I wasn't worried about others judging me. That's part of the fear. But I did it in spite of that. So even when the thoughts were there of trying to figure out what you were thinking, because of course that's all it is. If I'm worried about what you think about me, that means I'm already thinking what you're thinking. Yeah, I have that power. And projecting it out on you, which comes back to me, while at the same time saying that, you know what, in spite of that, I'm showing up anyway. So it's overcoming the worry and moving forward in spite of, and having it triumph. And that's what I like about it. Implies triumph is what we're saying here. How about putting up with hardships of a job imposed? If we're not careful, we're going to go into martyrdom here. But really, don't we have portions of projects, portions of work that we do? And I'm assuming we all enjoy the work that we do, but there are portions when we just got to suck it up, buttercup. And that's fortitude, right? That mental saying, we're going to do this. Let's bring Betsy in, because she always has wonderful things to share with us. Good morning, Karen. So good to see you.
Oh, maybe. Hi, maybe. So I'm in the middle of that right now.
Good morning. All right, go ahead. Tell me how much coffee you've had. Oh, you are a doll.
My third cup. I was up at 5:45. Woo!
Girl.
Got my heart mug. I don't know. You know, as always, you get my brain going, but it goes anyway. But yeah, the portions of the work that we just, you know, like, okay, like I got this. It's always with me, it's the technology, you know.
Yeah.
I've got like this corner over here now set up with like a backdrop, and it took me like 2 hours to figure out like how to get it just right. I got a prompter on my tablet, you know, to record some videos for my class. Anyway, so it's like not fun, but I was all right yesterday. I didn't, you know, really crack. I just, you know, I'm ready for the next step. So that's good. But, you know, my question, I always have questions, is to anybody. So I was talking to a really good friend of mine last night that I've known basically since I could talk, like since the days in the sandbox.
Wow.
Really, for my whole life. Yeah. And takes her a long time to make decisions, you know, to choose things. And also, like I was talking to her and she said, oh, it's so great that you know, that you're like following your dreams and like making it happen. I was sharing about my, you know, my game and what I was up to because I'm going to see her. And I said, and then she said something about like, oh, it won't happen to her. It'll never happen, you know, or like she's in a job that she doesn't like, commuting, you know, that whole thing. And so a couple questions. One is, you know, which book is a good sort of introduction? May not even be Napoleon Hill, but just, you know, starting to think of, you know, someone who doesn't have the wherewithal yet to be on top of their thoughts. You know, we all started at a certain point, right? To like be aware of our thoughts, or I did. You know, trying to say like, hey, like you can do it too. I have a few friends now where, I don't know, I guess because of where I've, you know, come to, it's like how do I communicate that in such a way that they get it? Or that they say, you know, yes, I can, maybe.
Well, my question to you is, was it a book or was it people for you?
Yeah, it was people. It's definitely people.
So was it people talking about a book like what we do here, or was it purposefully putting yourself with people in business?
Yeah, it was purposefully putting myself with people in different areas of my life that had the positive, you know, thinking and the fortitude to move
Right.
forward no matter what.
So,
Yeah.
because my first thought, honestly, is that she doesn't know what she doesn't know.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I literally, the tweet that I was doing this morning was to somebody who reached out to me, literally wanting to, brand new to being online, wants to run an online business, and is desperately seeking, desperate now, desperately seeking, that's what he wrote, either a mastermind group or a mentor. So I sent him a private message, it was all direct messaging, sent him a message telling him I'd be happy to have a conversation with him, set up an appointment with me. So he sends me a response. And the response includes, I'm paraphrasing, thank you so much. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Like I'm desperate, but
So you want to know what my response to him was?
okay.
My response was, I'm honestly, I admit I'm a bit befuddled. You said you were in desperate need, and yet an opportunity is presented to you, and you don't take it. If you're going to be a successful online business owner, you need to make decisions quickly, see an opportunity, take it, and run with it. I mean, I said it in a different way, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. So that's why I responded the way I did. Of course, it can be read in a variety of ways. It all depends on where he's sitting. But I'm wondering if it wouldn't be a good idea to maybe that you be the book that she reads. Yet you might say, you know what I did? I found a group of people that helped me see things a little differently so that I could feel confident and comfortable. And they led me to a book. You can start with the book, like Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. That's where I would go.
Or like the 4 agreements. Has anybody ever, I mean, not to get off your
Yeah,
topic.
that's fine. That's fine. I'm not familiar enough to be able to recommend it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Like,
but if it's something that you could follow up with a bit of discussion,
yeah,
that's where I would start. I'm going to throw it out to the chat. That was my view. What do you all think?
Yeah.
Say good morning to everybody.
Yeah. When you're talking about all this stuff and all these principles and everything that you share, I mean, it's awesome. It's and it's, I feel the need to, well, I shared, earlier. People, come on, hey, great way to start the day. But aside from that, I believe it is, the way to move us forward. How do I say this? I mean, as the human race, when you're in the world and you see everything going on, the only thing you can do is yourself. So in sharing positive things like this, and when people have that negative attitude, well, like I say, like I'm no different than anybody else. But one thing, that, and I don't know if this ties in, but one thing my friend said to me, she says, well, you're a risk taker. Because when we were saying, I said, you're the same as me. Like you can do anything you want. So if you believe it. So in there lies, I guess, that whole thing about the fear and facing the fears. And I don't just.
It is. All right. So let's look at this as negative mental attitude versus positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
The negative mental attitude says, yeah, but. Yeah, but. That's got to mean something in some language. Yeah, but.
Yeah, but.
I just, I do know yabbits allowed. All right. Yabbits eat carrots. Rabbits eat carrots. It's no yabbits allowed. That just, but says, oh, I agree with you, but just totally negate it because it doesn't apply to me. Gives me the excuse or reason that it's not going to work for me. Well, yeah, but. So what happens is, of course, that when I use it, sometimes somebody's astute enough to point it out to me, get it flown back in my face. No, yeah, but it's allowed. What I'm saying is I don't want to change. I'm really comfortable where I am, even though I yearn for something different. I'm too comfortable where I am, as miserable as it might be. Yet I am attracted to what you're doing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking to you about it. So there's that conflict and all that icky that happens, right? So there's a reason I was so direct with the fella on Twitter, and I'm really so direct as I am with anybody, is I fully understand that falling back on the comfort of whatever it is, the comfort of your own misery, it doesn't matter. It's the comfort of the familiar. And to simply say to a yeah, but that, why did you agree with me and then decide that it wasn't for you?
Fear.
So, yeah. What are you afraid of?
Yeah.
What are you afraid of?
That gets back to the fortitude.
It does.
It brings us right back to that because, okay, so I am a risk taker. Yeah, I mean, I am. If you want to, label me something, but the fact is, it's not like, oh, I wasn't afraid of, this and that and the other thing to take the steps, whether it's business or other things, in my life.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the growth is when you get into the uncomfortableness, and that I guess it is facing fears, right?
It is. It is. The thing is, though, for me, what always makes a difference in my ability to face the fear and walk through it is knowing that I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, there are a few times, the really big ones, the really life and death, big deals, I wasn't alone because of my faith in God and my faith in that which is greater than me, because I had seen what we call miracles. I had seen changes. I had seen things happen, experienced them myself that were truly just unexplainable to me. All right. So the faith comes from that, having seen results in things in world and what have you. So I had that. But on the other stuff, that, the mental things that hold us back, like what you're describing with your friend, through other people. It's my association with other people. It's listening and watching closely and seeing, do you really act like that? You say this, but is that really what you're like out in public? And then seeing, oh my word, you really are like that in public. How cool is that? There's alignment there. I see congruency from message to activity to behavior. I see consistency in what you say and what you do, right? And having the courage to say, can you tell me how you did that? That was the door opening for the yabbit to be left behind. It really was. When somebody's willing to say, how do you do that? So I'm just wondering if maybe you're not better equipped than you think you are to just simply help her. Point out that, I used to be afraid too, and sometimes I still am, but I'm not by myself. And all it takes is just asking for the information,
Yes.
I don't know. What do you guys think out there in Chatland? What do you guys think? Chatland.
And back to faith. I put those things out there about God. I grew up believing in God, and I still do. I guess I just changed up, into, like, I feel like I have a different meaning for it in my life, but it's kind of like that which we can't explain, and whatever ties us all together, and whatever. So, but I know, like, I feel like with you, I'm sure with all the health things that you went through, that, and then to come out on the other side, having the faith, and with anything, I get, that's what gets people through a lot of, kind of crises like that, right?
It is, and in some instances, I've always called mine before the health issues. I found a place inside that I could go to, not outside, but I was guided to look inside, and I always called upon it when the disasters hit, when tragedies hit, and it's this little itty bitty, pinky itty bitty little spot of strength inside, And it's essentially right around my heart area where I can just go inward for a moment and draw on that. And that's where that fortitude comes from. It's that mental, I'm walking in there and I'm pulling on that spout of strength because I know it's there, because I've had that experience. I asked for it to be there. I recognized it, whatever. And that's just all a part of it, right? That's just all a part of how I practice my faith and draw on it. So
I call that your soul.
Okay. And I call that where God resides.
Yeah,
so
it's the same thing, but it's just the language again,
Yep. And language matters, which is why I'm thrilled that you're sharing the language that you use, because others will resonate with that. The more language that we can express here, the more opportunity we have for individual growth, which is what we're all here for anyway, right?
Yes.
So you're getting support from Christian. He's saying that you can influence her thinking for the positive, that you can see she has a goal in how to be. So hold that space, that vision of her, and call her out when she's not acting or speaking in alignment with that vision.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that responsibility as a caring friend. Is that what you're saying, Christian? That's what it sounds like to me.
Yes. And she has said, we'll have some conversations when I see you, because I'm going to see her when I go up to Boston.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be great. I'm going to actually get together with 3 childhood friends. That's the plan.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I don't think you have to overplan it or overcomplicate it either. Make sure you have 4 different books for her to choose from, and the particular notebooks that may or may not work for her, right? Don't just bring your heart, right? Bring your own. You are plenty. So bring what you already know to her, because you can be the one that she follows. Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see. She Christian saying she will appreciate you for it. Make it a point to talk to her at least once a week or so. Okay, Christian, the life coach, is coming out now.
Yeah. True. I mean, it's about relationships, and people will listen when you have a relationship with them.
And I don't know what Cindy's referring to about you just answered that when she hit enter.
Oh,
is she open to listening to you? Okay.
Yeah.
And you had said that she was. I think it's fantastic. You can have conversations like we have in here, right? What you share in here is fantastic. That this is how you see things, and this is what works for you. That's all she's looking for, is somebody that can articulate it so that she can find her own way. And initially, we all model somebody else, right? We model somebody else until we begin to create our own habits. I have to fake it till you make it, Otherwise, I never would have gone on stage.
You make it, that's for sure. I was thinking of it. So fortitude, prudence,
temperance. Temperance, habitual moderation in the indulgence of the appetites and passions. I'm beginning to apply temperance and show it in my views of food. But I tell you, still love to eat, but I'm able to moderate now.
What else? Right?
Good morning, Christian.
Good morning.
Yeah, we're not going to. How are you?
I'm very good. Had a good morning. Got my workout in and everything early, so I'm happy about that.
Woohoo! Excellent. So, what are your thoughts?
So it's funny. Yeah, the life coach is coming out a little bit, but that's how I was anyway, right? I mean, that's how I am with my friends. That's why I got into life coaching. But it's like she has already demonstrated to you she's inspired to change, right? She already kind of outlined what the kind of person she wants to be, and so now it's like, okay, you are that person. Like when you have an inspiration like that, it's like a seed of life inside of her, right? And you just recognize that that's who she is. When you talk to her, be like, okay, I hear you. She's complaining, like normally they'll be complaining about something, or this is going wrong or that, and I'm like, yeah, I hear you. But you know what I'm saying, like you speak from her place of power, so the way I kind of like, yeah, but you're very reasonable. Like, you care about people, you have compassion. You see things differently than other people, and so I know that you'll work it out. So this is the kind of things I say to my friends, right? It's like, you see how I'm telling them, I'm empowering them with something that I already believe about them, and it's not the first time I said it, and they agree with it. They're like, yeah, I do see things differently, and I do care, and so, you be honest with what you notice, the strength that she has, you know her all her life, so she has plenty of strengths that I know you recognize, and call those out, and then and like I said earlier about that vision she has for herself, bring her back to that, right? Slowly but surely, by holding it in your own mind, you will naturally bring her back to it during the length of your conversation. So by the end of the conversation, she'll be back on that solid footing, or have that at least clear desire again on how to be, or what she wants to be. So that's just a little bit of how I, how I kind of practice it, because I hear,
it's wonderful.
People always come.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
Oh, I was going to say, it's like, yeah, I mean, people come and, everyone has life. Life happens, so they come to me and they're like, oh, man, this happened. It's terrible and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, that is bad, but, it's like, okay. And, like, what are you going to do about it? It's like, how do you feel, how I kind of talked him through the process. I'm not one of these people who are like, so what, you're awesome and be awesome. I'm more like, okay, I hear you. You want to make sure you hear them, right? And let them know that you hear them, right? You can feel, or you can see their point of view and why this or that is tough for them. Or like the lady, she says, I can understand, you've been living this way for 20 years or whatever. It's not easy to see your way out of it. However, it kind of goes like back with what you and Charlene were just talking about a second ago with God and everything. It's like, whatever her frame of belief is, or whatever yours is, you can communicate it in that way. But, if you are inspired for something, you have it within you. It's not going to let you go, right? And so you can kind of keep on living this halfway life and live, in your quiet desperation, or you can live in your fullness, right? And you can speak from experience here, right? Because that's what she's saying. You'd be like, yeah, it wasn't easy for me either. I had to kind of go through my ups and downs, but I just stuck with people who believed in me, and I stuck with people who believed in this, had this different kind of thinking, and so she will recognize that you're one of those people, and that's why I said, if you just talk with her once a week for about an hour or 30 minutes or so, it will gradually, you'll notice her begin to change over time. You don't have to be, identify yourself, I'm your life coach or I'm this or that. No, you just talk to her, and because she respects you. Anybody you respect and that you get to spend time with them, you start to identify with their way of thinking, right? And it kind of goes with what Charlene was saying with devices. It works both ways. If you spend with people who bring your thinking down, their thinking will go down. If you spend time with people who bring your thinking up, your thinking will go up. And I've seen you on here plenty of times. We've talked plenty of times. Your thinking is always geared up, so it will naturally begin to raise hers as well.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Now, Catherine is saying something interesting. She personally had a huge aha moment just last night. Someone that is deep in the darkness of discouragement can't see their place or their purpose. And that's very, very true. First, they have to have a spark of hope in their lives, and then they will begin to see. And what I'm saying is that Betsy is actually the spark of hope.
Yeah, she is.
No, that's what I'm saying is that, and you don't feel that way when you're the one talking with somebody who's in the darkness. You feel like you're just there to share where you were. But that's what happened with me. There were people there that I listened to. You became my spark of hope when I was like, oh, well, maybe I can do it. The minute I'm able to say that, maybe I can, the hope is ignited, right? I've had people come to me years later, after having spent time with them, that said, because of you, I felt like I could. And that's a spark of hope. That wasn't my intention when I sat down. That wasn't it at all, that I'm going to be your spark of hope and I'm going to make it. No. I'm going to transform you. I don't think like that. But instead, there was opportunity there to share that, I was there. I get it. It really sucks. It just sucks. Sucks raw eggs. Ugh. But there's a way out. And this is what I did. And get a conversation going like that. So you will be the spark of hope.
Well, so on the hope thing, I guess that has to be the first step, maybe for someone who just can't see it at all. That, and when I was saying about hope, that it seems like I equate it with desperation, or like maybe it'll happen. It does, but that it's like you've got to have maybe the hope first before you just dive right into, I can do it.
I'm just telling you right now that if there's no hope, you may as well bury me 6 feet under.
Yeah, I get that.
That's how I see it. It's such an integral part of moving forward, because the hope, as described here as a virtue, I understand what you're saying, Betsy, because I've had that. I've had that desperation where I'm hoping we're going to get through this. And had I not had it, I wouldn't have gotten through it. Even with the action. That preceded the action. It was enough to say that I'm going to have to do something about it. Okay, I will do something because I'm hopeful it will be better. But it doesn't have to be that desperate.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
I do get it. I do.
And then we have Catherine talking about hitting her husband over the head, which she does a lot. And he doesn't respond well to that, does he?
Okay? You're right. Does he need an ice pack? No.
Well, and she's saying, this is why I came up with Heart Open to Pursue Extraordinary. Because until we have hope, we aren't open to the possibilities.
Yeah.
And it's good to know where somebody is too. I really respect this what is called it's like a scale of of emotions, right? And if someone is in despair, right, or in that place, sometimes they have to fight out, and you have to fight from that kind of a low vibrational place, and generally that manifests as some kind of anger, right? So if you understand that's where they're at, right, they're kind of fighting from a place of depression, of hopelessness, and they're starting to move up this emotional scale, they're going to go through anger first, and allow them to do that, and because a lot of times when we're trying to help somebody from that low place, and we see they're getting angry, we're like, hey, don't be angry, everything is love and light and all this good stuff. And so we criticize them for being angry, and they go back to despair, because that's the next step up. So sometimes, you have to fight, you have to get angry to push yourself from, despair or whatever. And then you can get to the higher kind of things where it's hope and it's love and it's, positive motivation and all that. But yeah, sometimes you just got to fight, and if that's the energy they have to use to get themselves moving, because the reason I'm saying that is because generally that's kind of where it starts with a lot of people. The wall is so big or so intense to them that they have to kind of put some kind of aggressive energy behind breaking through it. And so you can kind of counsel them on how to kind of do that without hurting anybody or cursing anybody out. But sometimes that's the mental space they have to be in to kind of get it going.
Well, I'll admit, not a coach here, but I've talked to somebody enough to get them pissed off to do something.
Right.
When I can see it, I can see that they're like this, and I'll just keep at it. And I'm like, fine.
That's what I get to do with my son until he moves out. Just make it miserable.
I knew you were going to do that.
Keep on.
Yes, same principle applies. Same principle, right? This is interesting that Cindy is saying if someone waits until they're desperate, they might miss the light. And she's asking me if maybe that's why the person on Twitter started hedging. I don't know, but what I saw was an opportunity to just point it out. Take it how you will, but I pointed out that if you're saying you're desperate and a door is open to you, you might want to go through the door, especially if you want to be a successful business person. And that's what they were saying he wanted. I think it's a fella.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes people can say to themselves they want things, and even out loud, but then in reality they're not quite there yet. I don't know. They
So this is what I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go back to there is great comfort in knowing you're not alone. Whatever it is that we're learning, I get a lot of comfort sitting in my office here online with you as a group, with you in the live stream with me. Because even if I don't fully agree or understand what you're talking about, we're both talking about something that's going to move me forward. So I get comfort knowing that you're on my side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your strugglings in your own, whatever, let's pick a virtue that is your own struggle. So that gives me comfort to know that somebody gets it. But I also have the comfort of knowing somebody's ahead of me and that they're going to be sharing something that strikes me, that keeps me moving forward, keeps me inspired, keeps me motivated. So it's knowing that I'm not by myself in this struggle, knowing I'm not by myself in the learning and the moving forward. Yeah, probably because we're back to you got to wear earbuds, but then it's gone.
Yeah, it comes and goes, but at least it's not terrible. But no, you're right, Charlene. I mean when you're talking about the guy on Twitter, or whoever, guy, girl, that's what he needs. I mean, he told you that's what he needed. You told him how to get it. But then like you said, like Catherine is saying here, the fear of the unknown. So it might be me, Catherine saying. But once the so I'll fix it after I finish this thought here. But after,
well, there's no echo anymore.
Oh, it's gone. Okay,
so don't worry about it.
But yeah, everybody wants something, but it takes something different to get it, right? And so if you got to kind of be the one to do it, to do something different. I mean, you can get all the wisdom, all the clear steps. That's what you have to do, but you still got to do it, right? And that is the part that it's not easy for anybody, So it's like sometimes when people are going to come back at you, and they do it all the time. That happens to me a lot, Charlene, as well. Oh, I don't know what to do. So and you talk for an hour, and they're so clear.
Here are the steps.
Yes, they're so clear. Yes, this is what I need to do. Okay, great, go do it. But
I swear to goodness, somebody make me a little meme that says "No yabbits allowed" with a funky looking rabbit or something. I mean that kills so many actions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And place with "and," but it's still a but.
Well, no, the "and." Yeah, the "and" helps. So that's what I do when I'm talking, and they come with the "yeah," but I'll come back with the "yeah, that is true," and yeah, it may you don't know what the result is going to be, and you can do it, and it's time to get started. And so the best way to go with these kind of people is to set them up to take action immediately, right? Not tomorrow. Don't let them sleep on it, or go talk to this or all that other stuff.
This is so funny because you're so nice about it, Christian. I just see there's a reason I'm not. I didn't look at you and say, "Come back to me when you're ready to do it." All right, see ya. Yeah, I'm moving on to the next person that's wanting to move forward with things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it comes back to life is now, really, for me. And just from my experience, what I've learned, and you can always put things off and wait, and you do have to have a plan for future because you can't do everything today. However, life is now, and I think it goes back to the whole thing of the most important thing is, what is my chief purpose? Why am I here? To go to a 9-to-5 grind job and spend 3 hours in the car every day? I mean, I don't think that's anybody's purpose. However, but they might love what they're doing. But I'm just pointing out that I know many people that are in that position, and absolutely,
the world's full of them.
Yeah,
the world's full of them. All I have to do is look at the angry faces of the drivers in rush hour traffic.
Right.
And yes, amongst them are fabulous faces. Saw that on the trip to Florida and I'm back. I was reminded that there are some that are thoroughly, like Christy and I were sitting in the car. We're thoroughly enjoying what we're doing. This is not a problem, but they were in the minority. They were in the minority and looking around and seeing, and the and all I kept thinking of was there was a time when I experienced that kind of anger and somebody taught me a simple little thing to get over it. Instead of saying the expletive I often said, I just said, bless you. And I just figured everybody was sneezing. So I blessed everybody all the time. And it was, bless you, bless you, bless you. Yeah. So I know I looked ridiculous, but you know what? It changed my attitude. No, you're not the only one, Catherine. The conversations I have are often not repeatable.
Yeah, same
most often ending with driving school. Just follow me.
And it's bad when you have someone in the car. They're like, "Who are you talking to?" Oh, never mind. I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah.
I always talk to myself. Hey, we avoided the whole conversation about sex. We'll have to do that another day.
That was kind of the point, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was more important that we talked about the virtues. Because it's the virtues, because we were talking sex being a powerful motion that it is, powerful driving force. How do we keep control of ourselves and of it? It's these 7 virtues.
I have one thing to say about that. What gets the baby in gets the baby out. And that's a quote by a famous midwife named Ida Mae Gaskin. And it's the exact same hormone that runs through your body.
Okay.
Just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, Betsy.
She's the birth lady. She knows.
All right, I'm off topic. But you're talking. I mean, it's the.
Oh my.
Sorry. Part of physiological art, being human.
Yes.
No, I mean, if you go back to where you started, it is, in all
that is where it all starts. Yes.
Right. So
go ahead.
All the virtues that you mentioned, right? And they all have some power.
Oh, they all are powerful in themselves. But if we go back to the sex, what you were talking about, how powerful is that? That can be put to good use. It can be put to bad use.
Right.
And so our intention here is to put it to good use. And in order to put it to good use, to use powerful, positive mental attitude, these 7 virtues are an excellent guide. And they're actually an excellent start to learning how to put these principles into our lives.
Yes.
It's a way of practicing living as principles in themselves. These are virtues, right? These are for those who need what a virtue is. A virtue is a moral practice or action, moral excellence, rectitude, valor, chastity. And to finish, and a moral compass, And to finish this out for the recording, the 7 virtues are prudence, fortitude, temperance, justice, faith, hope, charity. So I want to thank you two for joining me in the live stream. Thank everybody in the chat area for a fantastic discussion. It was a pleasure having you this morning. Those who are in just watching, loved having you here. And those watching the replay, thanks for hanging with us this long. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.